Did you expect a social media fight between Conor McGregor and Anthony Smith? This spat was surprising, but aren't you glad it's happening? This all started when suspicions were raised by Smith in regard to how McGregor is healing based on Instagram photos and how jacked up he looks since his injury. Maybe the speculation is from jealousy, who knows? Keep watching as we dissect Smith's criticism of McGregor's healing and McGregor's responses. Firstly, did you know it all started because of McGregor's Instagram photos? While McGregor has been recovering, he has posted some selfies on Instagram. These images show that he is in excellent shape and sporting a jacked body, and it looks like he's recovering well from his injury. The comments began as people speculated whether McGregor is still within his waterweight limit. However, his photos also suggest that he's ready to return to the ring. The photos give the impression that he could be in the best shape of his career. This then started the spat between McGregor and Smith. However, some could suggest that this is jealousy. Is Smith following McGregor on Instagram? And now we have the outrage these photos caused. The response to the photos would generally be positive, considering how he looks, but sadly no, and people started accusing him of being on steroids. Other responses on social media compared McGregor's look to Saul Canelo Alvarez, who tested positive for a banned substance. Definitely had a dose of the Canelo roids, gone from Bambi to the Incredible Hulk after a leg break. Another chimed in and said, the most steroids we've ever seen. It even encouraged another follower to ask, what are you using? I want some of that. Of course, McGregor took the time to respond to that proper 12 and forged Irish stout, served alongside my own organically grown Irish beef, served on a hot stove. Tidal spray for pain. Not only did social media users comment, but others in the field also weighed in, like Anthony Smith, but we will get to that a bit later. First up, why McGregor had to stop fighting. Conor McGregor hasn't been able to fight since breaking his leg during his loss to Dustin Poirier in July 2021. But his fighting record of his recent 2 matches is different from where we would expect him to be, as he has lost 2 fights against Poirier. However, even though we haven't seen him fight, it doesn't mean he has been quiet. McGregor had a lot to say during a Twitter rant on Saturday, the 26th of November. He became very vocal and addressed where he stood with the UFC's anti-doping program. His rant was also against Anthony Smith, but he conveniently took the time to promote his upcoming projects. Next, McGregor takes the opportunity to promote his latest projects. Previously, McGregor said that his documentary would be released in January 2022, but it didn't happen and was delayed. During his rant on Saturday, the 26th of November, he mentioned that the production team has completed executive production of the first episode. He even gave an update to when it would be released. It would be released before his next fight. This documentary will be out before my next fight, episode 1 of 4, and the full 4 episodes will be out before my Hollywood debut. Not only does McGregor have a documentary on the way, but he is also in the remake of Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal. Roadhouse was initially released in 1989 with Patrick Swayze. Moving on to why Smith made comments in the first place. Smith's comments are not out of the blue, and he is recovering from a broken ankle. The injury happened during his first-round fight against Magomed Ankalaev. His comments about McGregor are from his own experience in healing. For Smith, the way McGregor has healed doesn't look like it's done in a legit way, at least according to Smith. Chris Weidman still hasn't recovered from his broken leg at UFC 261. I talked to Weidman today. He's still having struggles. He's still struggling to get back. Anderson Silva took a long time. Corey Hill took a long time. Anyone who's broken their leg has taken a long time. He's seemingly pretty healed up. It bugs me that he gets to jump out of the pool, juice up on whatever he's juiced on, and then just jump back in the pool, and no one's going to say S about it. I don't know. It's weird. It bothers me. Smith also added, McGregor took himself out of the USADA testing pool. He said there's only one reason you would do that. He's looking jacked as S. You keep seeing videos of him flexing in front of mirrors and screaming that he's enormous. He healed really fast, like really fast. Clearly, he was insinuating something here. He went on to accuse him of juicing because of how others didn't heal as quickly from the same sort of injury. Of course, as you would expect, McGregor fought back on Twitter. And now we have McGregor's responses. McGregor took the time to respond to Smith's claims on Twitter. The Twitter response directly replied to Smith's comments concerning his injury recovery. His recovery was being compared to Weidman. McGregor felt his comments were unfair and not justified. He claimed that his competitors would rather see him hurt and hobble and not to be able to interact with his children the same way as he always had. McGregor responded, saying, "Everything was fully disclosed before I began. The state of allowance for athletes to recover from injuries as horrific as the one I overcame must be assessed. My thoughts are with Weidman and Anderson Silva. The three of us and only us know the severity of this injury. It only makes sense that McGregor would respond to these accusations. Leaving these unchecked can often lead to people questioning his recovery, and the accusation will follow him throughout his career. Of course, you would not expect anything else from these two rivals, but it was always a surprise. Their exchange was not without a few heated remarks and name-calling. The audacity of this loser, Anthony Smith. You are a loser. The present of the bones joining back after a break like this is so low. Do you think I give an F about anything else? I am the most tested fighter of all time in combat sports. I give everything to this game. You, nothing. Next, did McGregor comply with USADA rules? McGregor claims he has ticked all the boxes and reported what he was doing to the USADA, which they confirmed. The USADA confirmed that McGregor must be involved in the 6-month drug test program while in recovery. Before McGregor is even allowed to compete in the UFC, he must be tested again. Interestingly, however, this was addressed later after they claimed he hadn't tested this year. But the officials from the USADA are not technically allowed to comment on a specific player in the doping programs. There are privacy rules that the organization must follow. Additionally, they cannot comment if someone has been removed from the program. And now, did you know that McGregor was a highly tested player? McGregor's claim that he's the most tested player is with some merit, as he was tested 11 times in 2021. This made him the most tested player of that calendar year. Subsequently, the testing slowed down when the injury happened. While speaking in this Twitter rant, he addressed that his recovery process should be shown entirely in his Netflix documentary. He is expected to return to the octagon sometime next year. An opponent has yet to be announced. However, Smith has an opponent lined up already, Jamal Hill. This match is expected to be completed in March at a UFC event, which would be 8 months after his injury. Moving on, the spat continues. You would think that the rant would end there with McGregor, but no, Smith responded. Smith still believes that McGregor gets different treatment from other guys, presumably because of his high profile. However, back on the podcast, Believe You Me, Smith responded and somewhat doubled down on his earlier comments. If there's something out there that could help me heal that I could do legally, I would, because I would heal much faster. But that is not the reasoning behind his questioning. Smith was on the podcast Believe You Me with Michael Bisping. He said, "What bothers me is that what guys like Anderson Silva, Chris Weidman, and myself have had bad injuries, and we could not just step out of the USADA pool, get ourselves healed, and come back with no repercussions. Did he break any rules?" You, Michael Bisping, said technically he's not breaking any rules. That's because different rules apply to him. I don't have that capability. Well, thanks for watching this video on McGregor responding to Smith's criticism on his recovery. Please leave a comment below and tell us what you think. We would love to hear from you. Also, remember to like and subscribe.